Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks Commentary. It is Wednesday, November the 21st. I'm Clay Emo at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm a founding member of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. Hot off the heels of their loss on Monday night to the Winnipeg Jets, the Vancouver Canucks are back on the road for a quick 3-game road trip through California, starting in Southern California tonight in Anaheim. So they have Anaheim tonight, they have San Jose on Friday, and they have the Los Angeles Kings on Saturday, which then kicks off a back-to-back because then the Canucks return home and play the same LA Kings on Tuesday night. Now, this 3-game Cali road trip used to be a murderer's row, for lack of a better term, for the Canucks, always playing against big, bad, tough Anaheim and LA teams, and then very tough and skilled San Jose teams. And this year, only San Jose is ahead of them in the standings. Right now, Anaheim's just behind them, and LA is a bit further down. LA, of course, firing their coach really recently, and Willie Desjardins coaching there now. So it's not as intimidating as the trip as it was before, but it's still going to be just as tough for the Canucks because, as we've talked about ad nauseum, they're missing 6 regulars. That would be Boeser, Baertschi, Sutter, Beagle, Edler, and Nilsson. The good news is 2 of those players went on the trip with them. That would be Alex Edler and Anders Nilsson. So maybe we see Edler as early as tonight or maybe Friday in San Jose. And then for Nilsson, maybe he's more ready to back up, or maybe he even gets game action near the end of this trip, especially that back-to-back, right? Maybe that's what they're aiming for with Friday San Jose, Saturday LA Kings, before coming back for the Tuesday rematch against the LA Kings. So that's good news. Bad news, I guess, is that means none of the forwards, Boeser, Baertschi, Sutter, or Beagle went on the trip. Looks like Sutter's a ways away. Beagle might be early December. Baertschi's not really skating too hard right now because of his concussion. And Brock Boeser is still not skating regularly, trying to heal his groin injury. So there's a lot going on there, and obviously a big reason why the Canucks have floundered, losing 6 straight. Yet, they are still 3rd in the Pacific Division. So very quickly today, I want to talk about forwards and what these injuries have done to our forward depth. I put a poll up on Twitter, like I usually do before these videos, as you know. And this one was a good one. It got a lot of reaction, 350 votes in a day. And I basically said this. Let's presume that we have a top... we're talking about the top 6 here. So let's presume that Pettersson, Horvat, and Boeser, Goodobin, and Baertschi are our top 5 forwards. I basically said, who should be our top 6 forward? Not who projects to be, who should we get, rent in free agency, get in free agency or trade for, but of these current players, who's basically our best top 6 option? And again, so obviously presuming Pettersson, Horvat, Boeser, those are the locks for sure. Goodobin's played a lot better recently and goal and assist last game. And I put Baertschi in there, and a few people debated Baertschi, his consistency, whatever. But I think when he's healthy, when he's motivated, and when he's playing with good people, I think Baertschi on this team is certainly a top 6 forward. So let's take those 5 guys out. Pettersson, Horvat, Boeser, Baertschi, Goodobin. And I gave 4 options for who should be our 6th forward. Who's our winger to make up the top 6? And I gave 4 options, and they were Jake Virtanen, Marcus Granlund, Louis Eriksson, and Antoine Roussel. And I chose those 4 guys based on what I've seen of their play this season and, their point total so far. I think Louis Eriksson has 12 points right now, so it actually puts him right with Goodobin and Boeser. So Louis Eriksson has 12, Granlund and Virtanen have 10 each, and Roussel has 8. So those are the 4 forwards I put in there. Didn't put Sam Gagner in. I think he's too new returning the team. And I didn't put in like Leipzig and Mott. We know those guys aren't top 6 guys. So got 350 votes, and I guess you wouldn't be surprised. Jake Virtanen got 90% of the votes. Then right behind him, not right behind him, what am I talking about? Behind him was Louis Eriksson with 6%, Antoine Roussel with 3%, and Marcus Granlund with only 1%, maybe 3 or 4 votes out of 350. So let's talk about those 3 guys very quick before I talk about Jake Virtanen, who will be the subject of this video. So obviously Marcus Granlund, 1%. No one sees him as a top 6. He's, like I said before, he's a good utility guy. I think Travis Green likes him in the bottom 6, either as a center or a winger. Antoine Roussel, love what he's brought to the team, actually, that fight against Brandon Tanev, and it's kind of funny that his brother Chris is watching all that happen, but fight against Brandon Tanev, standing up for his teammates, decent hands, good skater, so Roussel made perfect for a 3rd-line role, so I get that. Louis Eriksson, you look at his contract, $6 million would dictate that he is a top 6 forward. His play obviously doesn't dictate he's top 6, although he does have 12 points. He's 4th on the team in scoring, only behind Pettersson, Horvat, and Godolbin, I think. I got to check that, but I'm pretty sure it's Godolbin. And then I think Eriksson's 4 and Boeser's 5 now because of injury. So Eriksson is one of our top 5 scorers, but only getting 6% in the vote, matching his $6 million he makes a year. People, I guess, have seen enough and just don't believe him to be a top 6 forward. So that brings us to Jake Virtanen, who got 90% of the vote. And I've talked about Virtanen in a few videos before, but let's talk about him for a few minutes now. He has the potential to be a top 6 forward, obviously, in your eyes, 90%. In my eyes, too. I'm a big Virtanen fan, and I've said many times for the past 2 years, he brings a unique combination of size and of speed. Notice I didn't say skill. He does have skill. The parts I like about Virtanen's game, aside from his size, you know, he's not afraid to hit. When he hits hard. His speed, especially for his size, he's a very, very good skater. And we see that when he blows down the wing and makes guys turn to the outside, defensemen down the outside, and then Virtanen can beat them to the net. His hands are just okay. His hands are great on his shot. He's got a great wrist shot. He's got a good snap shot. We've seen that. It's not the most accurate shot, though. I don't know if you guys remember. He played on the point for power play 2 for at least one shift against Winnipeg, and he had a chance to let one go from the point, and all the players, forwards, and Canucks and Jets, had to duck because his shot went. I think it was a slap shot, or maybe it was a snap shot that went way too high, and then no chance of hitting the net. So his accuracy is just okay, and his hands are just okay. And oftentimes when Virtanen brings the puck in over the blue line, he can gain the line with his speed, no problem. But if he's not rushing towards the net, if he doesn't try and do that outside in move and get to the net, oftentimes he loses the puck because he's not the best passer and he's not the best stick handler. So you might say, well, Clay, how can he be a top 6 forward if he's not a good passer or not a good stick handler? I think one thing we noticed about Virtanen is he hasn't really played with really, really strong players before. You know, in the past 2 or 3 seasons, he hasn't got a chance to play with the Sedins for an extended look at time. He hasn't really played with Horvat and Boeser. They mostly had him on the 3rd and 4th line because of the other elements he brings, the size and his ability, his willingness to mix it up a little bit. So maybe, just maybe, we have to give him an extended look. Not we. Travis Green needs to give him an extended look on a top 6 line and in a top 6 position. And it won't be the top line. You know, when everyone's healthy, it'll likely... Well, actually, I was going to say, which center would he play better with? You know, we've seen him playing a little bit with Pettersson and Godolbin. And I've talked before, I don't think Pettersson and Virtanen have the best chemistry, but Pettersson did spring Virtanen for a quick break in the last game. So I think Pettersson's smart enough, his hockey IQ is smart enough where I think he can figure out how to play with anyone, including a guy like Virtanen. Virtanen's hockey IQ maybe not as high as Pettersson's, but if he does what he does well, and that's skate, get to the net, play hard, crash the net, and maybe we don't make Virtanen the primary stick handler, then maybe that could work for Pettersson and Virtanen. Virtanen has played a bit more with Horvat over the last couple of years. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I think, they're suited. They're more similar size than, say, Virtanen and Pettersson. And Horvat's not as fast as Pettersson, but also has a really good hockey IQ in it. Actually, I think Horvat's passing is quite underrated as well. He's able to set up a lot of plays. So, maybe that's a good question. Which of the two centers... Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. Which of these 2 centers do you think Virtanen would thrive more with? And is that Bo Horvat or is that Elias Pettersson? And tell me why. Maybe that's a good starting point for a question down below. So I think Jake Virtanen, of this roster, he definitely has the skills to be a top 6 forward on this team. I wouldn't have him as the primary puck carrier. I'd have him more set up in the slot for a quick snapshot or wrist shot. I would set him up, in front of the net, as to crash a little bit. And if Virtanen is bringing the puck in the net, I would have him go to the net as much as he can, as opposed to try and make a pass or try and stick handle too many guys. So that's just my quick opinion. And then I'd love to know, where you'd see Virtanen playing better with. Who would he thrive more with Elias Pettersson or with Bo Horvat as center? Because those are obviously our top 2 centers in our top 6. So I think of all those guys, I agree with you guys that it should be Virtanen given that opportunity. I don't think he's been given that opportunity over the past few seasons, and maybe this is the season, especially with the injury to Besser right now, where there's actually 2 spots in the top 6, and it would be nice to see him grab one of those and really take hold of one of them. So Canucks fans, what do you think? I like Jake Virtanen. I think many of you like him, but I wouldn't say time's running out, but given that he's a 2014 draft pick, I think we want to see more from him, basically starting now. Is he 2014? Yeah, he's 2014. So what do you want to see from him? Do you think he's a top 6 potential, especially on this Canucks team? And who do you want to see him playing with, Horvat and Pettersson, or Pettersson? Which center would bring the best out of Jake Virtanen? Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply. As always, this topic is very interesting to me because I simply want to see Jake Virtanen succeed because I like him a lot. Good local boy, and he would do so much for this team if he continued to find consistency. And I think we'd all agree he's much better this year than he was the past 3 seasons. One of those 3 seasons he was in Utica for most of it. But there's potential there, but he's got to continue to build and be an everyday, reliable player. Enjoy the game tonight. Vancouver, Anaheim, the first of the 3-game road trip. Leave a comment below, like I said, and subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Have a great day. Enjoy the game. God bless, and go Canucks go.